Hey, what's up? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in to another BlackSwanRadio.com production. Welcome. Man, it's 4:34 a.m. and I am up and inspired, and it's been that way for a couple hours. I'm inspired by the Word of God, often, authentically. And the reason why is because when I read the Bible, I don't just see the world through the Word. I see the Word in the world that God has revealed to me. I've been traveling overseas for some time now. I'm 44, and I began my international travels with the United States Navy at age 18. A few days after I graduated from high school, I was in an airplane headed to boot camp. A place they call the Great Lakes. I was actually reading a little bit about the Great Lakes today. And there's so much more to this world than what we see at the surface. You see, Lake Superior turns out to be one of the largest lakes in the world. And he has its own lake within its lake. There's some amazing things about the Great Lakes, because you have Lake Superior, whose depths are deep, and then you have Lake Erie, whose depths are shallow. Nevertheless, they are both large bodies of water. Last year I had the privilege to cruise the Nile River from Aswan to Luxor. And this journey was beyond eye-opening, beyond chilling, beyond breathtaking. It's something that takes a long time to realize what God has actually revealed to you. The manifestation of a dream. As we were in a hot air balloon one Sunday morning, taking off from the Valley of the Kings, hovering over the Nile River. And we landed in the eastern bank. You see, the Nile River, unlike the Mississippi River and the Amazon River and the Powhatan River that we call the James River, is a very narrow river that flows from south to north in a very subtle way. I watched the waves to see what the waves would look like, and it's not easy to look at the surface and see the direction, because the river current is manipulated by many different factors beyond the wind, the boats, the weather. So I was able to see the Nile River from various different perspectives, from a cruise ship, from a hot air balloon, from a high-rise apartment building, and from the surface. What I know about the river is that man has altered it and changed it. And the men around the river, on either side of the bank, those who occupy the land, change. The systems of faith, the systems of government change. And what is left behind by the natives, the originators, the names have changed. The names of the lands, the names of their rulers, the names of their deities, the names of the people. So, when we look at the Bible, it takes place inside of Africa. And yet everything African about the Bible stories have been whitewashed. And when I mean whitewashed, I mean altered. Just like corn, sugar, sheep, cotton. It's been fabricated, processed, the essence extracted, the seed, the nutrients, the vitamins extracted. Like the coca leaf. Like flour. Like rice. Genesis takes place in the Nile River Valley. Now, Cush is where Eden is, in the area we call today the Sudan. And the man who is writing Genesis is traveling the Nile from Mesopotamia. And one sign of this is because he's familiar with Assyria. Right. And there was a time in history where the Assyrians conquered the land of Cush. Now, in chapter 2 of Genesis, Havilah is used instead of Egypt. All right. In Genesis 10, the word Mizraim is used instead of Egypt or Kemet. And then in chapter 11, the Lord came down and seen the city, and he changed the name. He confused the language, right? And scattered the people and renamed the city Babel, right? And so if you go to the pyramids and you stand outside and you listen to the voices that you hear surrounding the tower, which is aligned with the heavens, the Stargate that was renamed Orion's Belt from Sahu, which describes the binary star system, Series A, Series B, which are also Greek names. So instead of towers, we use the Greek word pyramid. Instead of Kemet, we use the Greek word Egypt. Instead of Sahu, we use the Greek word Orion. Papyrus, Ethiopia, instead of Cush. So we use the Alpha and the Omega, right? The Genesis, and the revelations, the beginning, the end, the first and the last, the way to the tree of life, the root. Now, like I said, the Bible is about the conquest of these lands, right? Atum was a Cushite god, a Cushite deity, the god of creation, who formed man and woman from his words, his conception, uttering the seeds of life, semen, onto the earth, and then molded the human form, which was a reflection of himself and his shadow. For he was the evening sun, the setting sun. So this is the reason why he had a son named Seth. Set. The Greeks called Seth. And Seth was the god of the Redlands, who came into the Blacklands and conquered them from Asar, his brother, until Isis went on a quest to travel the Nile in order to piece together the body of Asar, who the Greeks called Osiris, right? And Aset, the Greeks called Isis. My point is to get you to understand that these African deities have been hidden in the biblical scriptures, just like the river, which we call the Nile River, the river of Kemet towards Cush. Now, of course, they use Havilah instead of Egypt, because if they said the first river was in Egypt, right, it is the one which they found gold, and the gold of the land was good, bdellium and onyx stone. Then you go into the second river, which encompasses the land of Cush. You know exactly where you are. So instead of using Kemet or Egypt, they use the word Havilah. Now, Havilah was also taken. In the same chapter. Now, chapter 10, the word Mizraim was used instead of Kemet. Mizraim is used because this is before the Greek word Egypt is used. Egypt is used for the first time in chapter 12, after the Lord came down and seen the city and caused the diaspora, scattering the people of the land of Shinar. Shinar is where you see the pyramids aligned with the heavens. Biblically, Nimrod is the name used because Rod and Mem go hand in hand. See, the rod of Mem is the seed, the sons of men. Mem was the black fertility god, also a deity in the Bible, hidden in the Bible. Men, the black fertility god, with the erection and the flail in his hand. And the flail means to scatter the seed, and it's a dual meaning at least. Maybe it has more, but it means agricultural and